Hello friends, welcome again back to another beautiful tutorial. How are you all doing, guys? Hope you're all generally fine and I hope you're doing great. Today guys, I want to show you how to make this very beautiful romper suit with a spaghetti strap. Yes guys, so this one is quite simple, easy, and of course a stylish one. So let's do this together. So this is my beautiful African print that I'm working with. I love this print a lot. And of course, this is the working tools. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and lay my fabric on the table. So what I am working with actually is 2 yards. Yes, 2 yards. So just to show you guys, I went ahead to measure it. A yard is 36 inches, right? So, and I have it folded into two, and that makes it what, 2 yards. And you know, this comes by the length of 45 inches. We're not even going to use the entire length. So what I do now is to fold it again. So we have it what, folded into four. So you can see this now. So this is what we are working with, folded into four. Now the first thing I'm going to do now is to make a 4 inches mark from the unfold part there. So I'm going to mark 4 inches all the way from top to the to the lowest point of this fabric. So you can see what I'm doing, going ahead to mark my 4 inches all the way. So after that, I'll just mark a straight line, and this is what we have. We'll be using that much later. I'm just trying to trim up that top edges there, so we have a startup line. Now this is going to have a strap, right? So we need to cut this as if you're cutting an off shoulder. So I'm going to be using 5 inches for my strap, so which means my tape will start what, at the 5 inches mark. You can see the way I'm placing my tape. So from that point, I'll start marking my vertical measurement. First is my chest line. I have that at 9 inch there. Still placing it at the 5 inches mark. I'll mark what, my waistline at what, 17 inches there. Then the next line is going to be what, my hip line. I'm marking that at 25. So I'm placing my tape at the 5 inches still and mark my 25 inches there. You can see this. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and just repeat the same thing, moving it upward. So this is so that I can have what, a perfect straight line. You can see what I'm doing. So I've done the points there, that I'll go ahead and connect all my points together. So after that, I'll also go ahead and label it all, the chest line, the waistline, and the hip line. Now the next vertical line is going to be my crotch depth. For my crotch depth, I will use my hip circumference, which is 44 divided by 411. I will add 2 inches to that, making it what, 13. So from my waistline, I will what, indicate my 13 inches. You can see this now. And so this is going to be what, my crotch depth. You can see this. Yeah, so that's the next line. I'm labeling it now. Now the final vertical line is going to be the actual length of my suit. So still placing my tape at the 5 inches mark, I'm going to mark what, 38 inches. That's the length, but I'm adding extra 1 inches, which will make it 39. That extra 1 inches is for the hemming. Okay, so placing it at that 5 inches mark, then I indicate my 39 inches in length. I hope you understand that. So moving my tape forward so that I can get what, my straight line. And that's it, guys. So once I've done this now, I'll just trim off the excesses there. So yeah, so that means these are the excesses I'm going to what, be discarding for now. You can see this now. Yeah, so it's still going to come in handy later on. So this is what we are working with right now. So the next thing I want to do now is to start fixing the body circumference. So I'm putting in the bust circumference, which is 38, divide by 4, and that is 9.5. Then I went ahead to add 3 inches extra. So this 3 inches includes the sewing and of course some extra ease allowance. Now I'm also marking what, the waistline, 36 divided by 4, 9 inches plus 3 inches extra. Then the next is the hip line, 44 divided by 4, and also that's 11 with extra 3 inches as well. So what I have on my hip line, I'm going to extend it all the way down to the end of my, the hemline. There you can see what I'm doing. So just connecting it, the hip line goes straight down. Yeah. Then I'll connect the other side lines there. That's the from the waist to the hip, and now from the chest line to the waistline. You can see we have this done already, and this is it, guys. Now the next thing I want to do now is to create my crotch curve. So under my crotch line now, I'm going to extend it outward. So this is actually the reason why we have that our 4 inches we first mark. So I'll just make a crotch from my hip line there. You can see the way I'm placing it all the way to that crotch line there. You can see. So we just have our crotch, curve there. You can see this now, and of course extend that line straight down to the hemline as well. You can see this, and that's it for this one now. Now the next thing I'm going to do now is to make a 0.5 inches mark from the top towards that line where we have that our crotch curve. Now this 0.5 inches is what we're going to use to sew this piece, to have it in one piece. Okay, it's going to be slitted open. Okay, it's not going to be on full. So in order to make it to be in a singular piece, we have to join it together. That's the reason we're putting this 0.5 inches. Of course, as we go along, you also see how it turns out. So going ahead to mark my 0.5 inches all the way to where that curve starts. You can see where I'm stopping there. And that's it for this one. You can see we're done with this part. Now we'll move over to the upper part. So I'm going to fix in my off shoulder width. Okay, so I'm using a width of 5 inches, which is usually okay for an average woman. 5 or 5.5 is okay, but I'm using 5 inches. So from that point, I'll just make a curve towards my armhole, and that's going to be my armhole curve right there. You can see what I'm doing now. You can see. Now the next thing now is to make a depth for my neckline. Now remember, we are placing our tape at the 5 inches mark, right? So I want my neck depth to be 7 inches. Okay, so 7 inches is my neck depth. I'm using it for both the front and the back. So I'm placing my tape at the 5 inches mark like we have been doing. Then I'll indicate 7 inches. So now I'm going to connect it there. But before I do that, I need to give a space where my strap is going to fit in. So I fixed a space of about 0.75. You can see what I'm doing. That's 0.75 inches space. Then I can now connect it to my neck depth. So this totally depends on you. Your neck depth can be deeper. So I'm using 7 inches for the front and back, although I later reduced the back neckline to 1 more inch. Okay, yeah, so you can see that space that I'm demonstrating. That's where the strap is going to be sitting in. And guys, we are done with the drafting. You can see this is how it is. Yeah, we're done here. So going ahead now to cut this entire piece out. Guys, okay, take your time now and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that. Please hit the subscribe button, like, share with your friends, share with your sewing communities. I will really appreciate this a lot. Okay, please don't just watch and go. Okay, if you find this helpful, please go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. And thank you so much. And guys, we're done with the drafting. You can see how beautiful this is looking. So I went ahead to notch the waistline there because I'm going to be attaching a pocket afterwards. Okay, yes, so that's what I'm going to do. So I have my little leftover pieces now, so I'm going to use it to create my pocket piece. So a width of about 7 to 8 inches is okay for the width opening of the pocket, and the depth of the pocket 8 to 9 inches is okay. Although this one is not up to 8 inches, but it still worked out for about 7 inches. But I just used it like that, so it wasn't that so deep, okay, but it still turned out well. So going ahead to make my curve, you can see the way I just spread my hand, just to make my pocket curve right there. You can see this now. Then I now slanted it upward by about 1 inches. Okay, yeah, so that part that is slanted upward is going to be sitting on the hip line. Okay, yeah, so I'll be attaching this much later, from the waistline towards the hip line. So that's it, how it's going to be. You can see this. Yeah, so we're done with this one now. So the next thing I wanted to do now is to create a bias for myself. I needed some bias tape, so I went ahead to use just a little piece of fabric to do that. Now creating a bias tape is just to make a slanted line like this in a triangular form. So you can see the way I'm placing my tape, not like I'm measuring anything. It's just using this like in form of a ruler. So just can see the way I'm making my markings in a slanted line like so. So I'll use my ruler to make it more visible. So yes, so I'll just go ahead and make my slanted line first. Then after that, then I will start indicating the width of my strap. Like I said, we are trying to make what? A bias tape right now. That's what I'm trying to do. So this bias tape is what I'm going to use for the neckline and for the armhole. You can see what I'm doing. So the more markings you make, the more strap I'm going to have. By the way, I have a very short video on how to make a bias tape. I actually show two different methods, and having in mind that when you're joining these pieces together, it can be very tricky. It's not the regular way you join your pieces. There's actually a technique to do that, so you might need to watch that video. Okay, yes, because sometimes you just want to make a bias tape for yourself, to make some work easy for you, just like I'm doing right now. So you can see, so I have all my pieces ready, so I'm going to be joining this much later. You can see how this is. It's going to really come in handy. You can see. Yes, so this is it, guys. We're done with this one, so set this aside now. Now the actual sewing process starts off. So what we're going to do now is to go ahead now and sew on that 0.5 inches line that we draw earlier. You can see we go ahead and make a sew there all the way, then you sew towards the crotch. Okay, so that's what I meant earlier, and you do the same thing for the other side. So practically the front and the back are the same. Yeah, so I'll go finish that up now and also fix my pocket and also my bias. Okay, yes, so I'm going to do that. So once I have it in one piece, I'll just attach my pocket like so, like I demonstrated earlier, then also my bias. Now when I was done, now this is what we have. I've gone ahead to sew it together, so you can see we have it in one piece, and also be sure to clean up those rough edges, the edges rather. So I weaved it all and also give it a very good press. So you can already see how it's looking. You can see my pocket in place for both the front and also the back piece. Now you can see my bias tape. I've gone ahead to join it. So like I said, you need to watch that video. The technique on joining these pieces is not the regular way you join your pieces together. All right, so now it's time to attach my strap. Now this little strap I made, this actually is straight pieces I cut out about 3 inches or 2.5 inches. I just folded it. So it was 5 inches, right? Yes, so that 5 inches, because you attach it at the front and the back, that makes it 10 inches. Then with 1 inches extra for sewing, and that is 11. So exactly 11 is what I have. So all you need to do is to just make it sit on that point. You can see where I'm pinning it down now. So that's the reason why we left that space of 0.75 so that our strap can sit in there. So if you're going to be using a wider strap, so you might have to increase it. I hope you understand. Yeah, so going ahead to pin it down just like you see me doing right now. You can see this now. Now you have to pin it to the other piece, but you'll be sure to make sure that you are aligning your fabric very well, like right side to right side. Make sure you align. You can see the way I'm taking my time to make sure I align it very well. Then you go ahead and also pin it down. So you pin for the one side and also on the other side. So once I'm done with this, then I'll go ahead and just top stitch just to put it in place. Okay, yeah, so just top stitch and you have it in place. So you can already see how it's looking now. It's properly aligned. So once you've done this now, then it's time for you to now use your bias, okay, and start hemming the armhole, the neckline. Just take your time and do this all the way. You can see, and you do this for the other side as well, and that will be it for that part. Okay, yeah. So once I'm done with my hemming of the neckline and the armholes, then I'll go ahead and bring my pieces together. Make sure the right side is facing each other, align it properly, okay, and we'll go ahead and start joining the side. Now have in mind that if this is not so loose, then you might need to make a slit at the back. Please have that in mind. If it is not so loose, you need to make a slit at the back so that when you're wearing it, it can easily pass through. But this one is going to be free. Okay, so there was no need for making a slit at the back. Now going ahead, to just go ahead and join the sides. After that, make sure that the crotch join together. Make sure that you join the crotch properly together. Then you sew from that point to one end and also to the other end. Then finally you go ahead and hem all the way on the lowest part, and guys, this outfit is ready. you can see how we did this. So that's it, guys, on how to make this very beautiful one. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you find this helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your friends and sewing communities. I will really appreciate this a lot. So see you on the next one, guys. Have a beautiful day. Bye.